Battle through the heavens, grand world. Chapter 109. You will be the boss. Du Ruoxi looked at the man in front of her and saw his struggling expression. She could not bear it anymore. Her trembling hand gently touched Bai Lufeng's cheek and forced a smile. Bai Julang is your uncle after all, I. As she spoke, Du Ruoxi could no longer continue pretending. She threw herself into Bai Lufeng's arms and started sobbing, but she did not blame Xiao Yan for hating him. This was the law of Black Region. It was changed. Anyone would be like this. By the way, if you are dissatisfied, after Bai Julang's death, you can lead the Martial Strength Hall and fight the Tuanji gang to the end. At that time, I don't mind killing one more person. Xiao Yan suddenly stopped in his tracks, turned around and said to Bai Lufeng with a smile on his face. After that, he suddenly moved and arrived next to Bai Julang, who was struggling to get up. Without hesitation, he threw a punch at Bai Julang's chest. Bai Julang couldn't dodge in time, and his chest caved in. Blood mixed with broken liver spurted out from his mouth. There was a crazy hatred in his eyes. Bai Julang's ruthless eyes swept across Xiao Yan. After that, he looked at Bai Lufeng, who was not far away from him. He stretched out his finger stiffly and said with great effort, "Bastard. If I knew this would happen, I would have killed you." As soon as he finished speaking, his powerless legs could no longer support his huge body. He fell down from the fighting arena powerlessly and landed in front of the people of Tuanji gang. Bai Julang is dead. This is one of the top 5 experts of Black Region. He was killed so easily. Who is this young man? When they saw Bai Julang's death, everyone below the stage sucked in a breath of cold air. Looking at Xiao Yan on the stage, their eyes were filled with fear and dread. In Black Region, killing people had become a common occurrence for these people. It was common for monarch spirit warriors to die if they were careless. However, Bai Julang was a powerful warrior who had been famous in the Black Region for a long time. Now, he was killed by a young man who suddenly appeared. This had really exceeded everyone's imagination. Hall Master has been killed. The people of Martial Strength Hall could only watch as Bai Julang fell to the ground, like a giant pillar falling down from the sky. They instantly felt endless fear. Under normal circumstances, when two factions fought, the victorious side slaughtered all the members of the defeated side. Although the Martial Strength Hall was a large gang with hundreds of people, if the young man on the stage really wanted to kill them, they were powerless to stop him. Brother Xiao, well done. Below the stage, when Lu Wu saw Bai Julang fall in front of his own gang, he couldn't help but cheer loudly. When the other members saw this, their blood boiled. They couldn't help but follow Lu Wu's loud shout. The loud and clear voice instantly shook the entire martial arena. Witnessing Bai Julang's death, Bai Lufeng's body suddenly trembled. Then he bitterly smiled. The trace of hatred in his heart had already disappeared. Since he was living in Black Region, he had to be prepared to die. Being killed could only mean that he was not strong enough. No one would sympathize with him. Furthermore, all these years, no one knew how many people had died under Bai Julang's hands. Thinking of this, Bai Lufeng really couldn't bring himself to hate Xiao Yan. Looking at Du Ruoxi, who was sobbing in his arms, Bai Lufeng's eyes were full of pity. Between family and love, he had completely fallen into a struggle. His fingers gently caressed Du Ruoxi's delicate face. When his fingertips touched the blood that came out of Du Ruoxi's neck, Bai Lufeng's face changed. Looking at the slowly flowing blood on Du Ruoxi's neck, the struggle in Bai Lufeng's eyes instantly turned into determination. He treated Bai Julang as his family. The latter had never treated him as his nephew. He had always been wary and cold towards Bai Lufeng. All these years, he was called the second Hall Master of Martial Strength Hall, but he did not have any power. The women that he liked were almost killed. Slowly caressing Du Ruoxi's hair, Bai Lufeng looked at Xiao Yan with a determined expression. I'm convinced. I declare as the second master of Martial Strength Hall that from now on, Martial Strength Hall will be merged into the Tuanji gang. As soon as the words left his mouth, the crowd went into an uproar. Some of the leaders of the gangs were dumbfounded. The Martial Strength Hall was one of the 3 major gangs in the Black Region. He was actually swallowed up by a tiny Tuanji gang. I'm afraid the power of Black Region will be reshuffled in the future. This was what most people were thinking. Xiao Yan smiled lightly when he heard this. He walked to the two of them and looked at Bai Fengfeng. Get up first. Bai Lufeng helped Du Ruoxi stand up with great effort. Before he could stand up, Xiao Yan already kicked. When the kick hit Bai Lufeng, the latter immediately became like a cannonball. He slid on the stage for a few meters before stopping. After that, he spat out a large mouthful of blood. Xiao Yan, you. Du Ruoxi was shocked when she saw this. She was about to ask when Xiao Yan stopped her and said in a deep voice, nothing will happen to him. Don't worry. After saying that, she came to Bai Lufeng's side. Bai Lufeng also struggled to stand up. His face was covered with blood. He looked at Xiao Yan with confusion. This is to tell you that if you can't even protect the woman you love, what kind of man are you? Xiao Yan stared at Bai Lufeng's puzzled eyes and said coldly. The latter was stunned for a moment. Then, the confusion in his eyes turned into shame. The last trace of resentment in his heart dissipated immediately. He looked at Du Ruoxi and said in a firm and trembling voice. In the future, I will not let her suffer any harm. When Xiao Yan saw this, he could not help but feel delighted in his heart. Looking at Bai Lufeng who was staggering towards Du Ruoxi, he secretly said, Boss, now I can finally stop you from saving my life. Looking at Du Ruoxi and Bai Lufeng who were hugging each other, everyone on the ground had mixed feelings in their hearts. The people from the Tuanji gang were cheering, the people from the Martial Strength Hall were stunned, and the rest of them had mixed feelings. Members of the Martial Strength Hall, your second hall master has announced that the Martial Strength Hall has merged with the Tuanji gang. Anyone who refuses to accept the challenge can come and challenge me. I have no objections to leaving the Martial Strength Hall. However, who would dare to join in with ulterior motives? I won't be lenient. Standing on the stage, he looked down at the people of Martial Strength Hall below the stage. Xiao Yan said faintly. The vigorous voice mixed with origin monarchy resounded in everyone's ears. At the same time, Alien Realm's soul rushed out from between their eyebrows without holding back, bringing incomparable pressure to the people below. There was no lack of iron-blooded men in the crowd. After witnessing Xiao Yan's thunderous means and decisiveness, they couldn't help but admire him. He answered loudly without hesitation. Some of them were attracted by the million monarch crystals that Xiao Yan had mentioned and joined without hesitation. A few of them who were dissatisfied felt the tremendous pressure from Xiao Yan and agreed without hesitation. Seeing that Xiao Yan had easily recruited the people of Martial Strength Hall, the leaders of the other gangs all felt relieved in their hearts. This guy's way of doing things was decisive. He really had the demeanor of a superior person. All right, boss. From now on, they will all be your subordinates. Sensing Du Ruoxi and Bai Lufeng walking over, Xiao Yan instantly withdrew his soul energy and smiled at the two of them. You're still calling me boss. You must be angry at me. Du Ruoxi looked at Xiao Yan unhappily. Then she smiled and said, I have discussed with Lufeng just now about accepting such a big gang in Martial Strength Hall. With my ability, I can't control it, but you are full of charisma. Why don't you be the boss? Don't reject me, I saved your life. You must agree to my conditions. Du Ruoxi looked at Xiao Yan with a cunning look in her eyes. Xiao Yan was stunned and looked at Bai Lufeng. The latter also said sincerely. Big brother Xiao Yan does have the demeanor of a leader. I know Ruoxi's ability, but she is not qualified. Of course, I know big brother Xiao Yan has important matters to attend to, but he can temporarily be the boss. When the gang is stable, Ruoxi can manage it. Xiao Yan heard this and thought for a while. He could only nod his head. Okay, it's settled then. But in the future, the leaders of the gang will still be the two of you. I am just temporarily acting on behalf of them. Looking at the two excited people in front of him, Xiao Yan smiled and did not say anything. He had long seen through Du Ruoxi's evil ideas. She still wanted to get closer to Bai Lufeng, so she left this mess to him. I will have a lot of work to do these few days. Looking at the crowd below the stage, Xiao Yan's mouth revealed a trace of a smile. Chapter end. Hi guys, please like, comment, share, and subscribe.